My name is Wendy, and it is May 18th. I wanted to tell my story of how Tatiana has helped me using the body code, emotion code, and EFT. Tatiana saw me, and I have a condition called essential tremor. I have a grandmother and an uncle who had a tremor and shook. Many of my family members say that my tremor is much different from theirs. They were never diagnosed with essential tremor. It sort of always came and went. To me, it felt like it was very much mixed up with mind, body, spirit. I couldn't really separate one thing out. The tremor was always with me, mostly in my head more than my hands. Every muscle in my body, particularly on this side, was just like this. But I was really good at just sitting and all you could see was my head, but it was actually really all of me.
All of the body, yeah.
I think my mom said I was 3 the first time she ever noticed it when I was eating. Into adulthood, I started trying to really figure out what it was. I looked things up a lot at the library. It wasn't really until the advent of the internet until I met other people who shook like I did. The first time I ever met someone who had the same kind of tremor, it was like, meeting a long lost family member, because I realized at that time it is a different kind of tremor than my grandmother and uncle have. When people would notice it, it would get worse. It never stopped me from doing anything. I was a spokesperson for a newspaper for a long time, so I would make TV appearances. But as I've gotten older, it started to become worse and worse. And there were times that I could barely walk downstairs. And there was one point when I was living in San Francisco that it was so bad that I was using a 3-footed cane sometimes and feeling my way downstairs, and had to be really careful about everything. And at that point, my neurologist died. And a new one came in and said, "Has your thyroid ever been checked?" And it hadn't. So I had Graves' disease. I dragged my feet for a long time. I ended up getting an ablation, which is a radiation treatment that kills part of the thyroid. And the tremor got better again after that. But what had happened was it just made it exponentially worse. So it was usually on and off with no rhyme or reason. And of course, real stress would make it worse, but exponentially, So I've always kind of had a tremor similar to Katharine Hepburn, so I was in good company. But I have my whole life held my body as still as I can, and it's harder to do that now that I'm older. It was harder to find work. I always worked in advertising, which as you get older, it's, different. I went to graduate school for nonprofit management and wanted a different kind of job, but it's been hard. And I think it's tremor related, although no one's going to come out and say we don't want a shaky lady working for us. And people see that and see what's on the surface and don't see the strength underneath. When I started seeing Tatiana, I was ready for whatever worked to work. Tatiana and I started to meet pretty regularly, like once a week. We had a few video calls, and it's such a gentle practice. One thing that had become very disturbing to me was that every neurologist that I saw saw me as the best, the most prime, the most desirable candidate for DBS, which is deep brain stimulation. And I had said, great, I'm glad I can meet with him. I don't want to talk about any invasive procedures. And he rolled into the room during our first visit with the deep brain stimulation machine. And I pieced out. When Tatiana first saw me and thought I was a good candidate to be helped. And so I just put everything aside and thought, I don't care at this point what's causing it, whether it's essential tremor and heredity or anxiety and just within me. I just have to quit shaking because it's really hard to live this way. I had extraordinary shoulder pain, hip pain, things mostly on the right side of my body. I would drop a lot of things with my right hand, and usually my left would take over. And shortly after I met Tatiana, I got a job which is really a pretty stressful job, a lot of computer stuff, like 6 months of training. Tatiana has helped me to be able to focus on what I'm doing, to sort of, the tapping to me has reawakened my body. But as soon as I can even just do a couple reminder taps to let that software know there's a glitch in the new program. Sometimes I tap places that aren't official tapping places, but they help too. And the tapping is, a gentle reminder, like, we're one whole unit working together. Even the exercises that we would do just felt so good, and the tapping did, because I needed to get everything involved and change how the energy was flowing, and I guess that's what the energy one is all about. But it absolutely worked. It's a process, it's not a 2 or 3 session thing. I think it's
exactly.
It's what you're ready to know about what's going on. And I was very open to it and ready for there to be a real solution. And had been praying about it, and I was ready to receive something really good, and that was you. Any friend who knows me, who saw me before this treatment, and anyone who has essential tremors, so we right away recognize each other, will definitely say, I want whatever she's doing. And my advice is to, just do it. Don't psychoanalyze it first. I think it worked for me. The first thing was the connection I felt with the practitioner. I think that's really important, to meet the person you're going to do this with, because it's a very vulnerable, personal thing to do. The tapping and some things that you might uncover. And then really just being ready, I want whatever, I want to feel good again, and I want this to be gone. Or at first I really just thought, I'm going to just learn to accept that I shake. And another thing I would be absolutely remiss not to say is that Tatiana and I both have a strong faith, and we would pray before we started, and faith in God, and feeling that loving energy and presence. And I think kind of mind, body, spirit in many ways mirrors, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Definitely the practice itself of the emotion code and the body code and EFT and the energy medicine, but there's also that really critical link, which is faith in God and his healing power, and someone who he has chosen to help bring that to others. But I don't think it could have been all just Titiana or all just me, that there was a special thing that happened when we were sharing our beliefs.
My name is Wendy Irvin, and I have been diagnosed with essential tremor torticollis, which is a twisty kind of thing. But I have had a tremor ever since I can remember. My mom first noticed it when I was 3, and lately it's been getting worse as I've gotten older. It's moving into my voice. I think it's the same thing Katharine Hepburn had. I don't know if it's a familial tremor. I had a grandmother and an uncle who both had a tremor, but everyone says the way I shake looks much different from the way they did. I was born on a Marine naval base, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, where groundwater was contaminated. And there was a lot of, there are 10 different conditions that during the Obama administration were ruled that people at Camp Lejeune had, that the military would help cover treatment for. Neurological issues were one of them, but not specifically essential tremors. So they've told me if it turns into Parkinson's disease, they would help, but I hope it doesn't. It's affected my job lately. I recently, my job was deleted, but really I was the weakest link. I was a voice writer. And so now I'm having voice tremors that are probably obvious, and not really a stutter, but sometimes I can't get the first part of a word out, so I have pauses before words. And in my job, I had to repeat very quickly what everybody was saying to make captions by voice recognition, and it just wasn't happening anymore. I think people thought I had a drug problem, like I was a speed freak or something. Now they think I have Parkinson's or something, and living with illness in America is hard. People don't understand, and they some people will say they think it's cute. It's part of my personality. And it doesn't feel cute. It really hurts. My shoulder hurts all the time from trying to hold still. It's hard to do a lot of stuff. I have to really concentrate. My right hand hurts a lot. And I used to, when I was younger and in better shape, could hold myself very still, and people would remark on my good posture and stuff, but not anymore. And when I think of it, I'll try, but it's hard. I used to be able to do everything, to sit really straight and do stuff, and the tremor was always waiting to come out, but I could keep it at bay. But I'm kind of losing the fight. And so now I kind of have to choose. Like, I can sit straight and shake, or I can be slumpy and hold. And so Titiana is going to help me.
First, we can say a second session.
Yes, the first one was definitely opened up a whole new possibility, because I just went to Texas Workforce Commission. They referred me to a psychologist and said I was long-term depressed. After they sent me for a psychoneurological testing that took 4 hours with a psychologist, and they did all sorts of vision tests, and memory tests and things, and they said that I had a great vocabulary, the best they had ever seen in 30 years, and all these great skills, but that I was depressed. I thought they were going to help with the tremor, but they didn't really speak about that at all. So Texas Workforce Commission is paying for me to go to a psychologist for 12 sessions, who's urging me to go on the antidepressants, which I don't want to do, because I like how I think. I don't want to think differently. I just don't want my body to shake. And I know that mind, body, spirit is related, but I also think it's what's happening in my body is not because of my mind or my spirit. It's something that's happening in my body.
So we will do the balance and harmony in your body.
Okay.
And I believe this could help your body to get healed, your body, soul, and mind. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
God help us.
Yes. Please, God help us.
My name is Wendy Irvin, and I've been having some sessions with Tatiana Popa. I feel way much better than I did at first. I think definitely I don't look as tremorish, but I'll say some days are better than others, and today is a really good day. So I've been feeling good. My shoulder pain sometimes is totally gone, which it has been years since it's totally gone, ever. But I have long periods of time that it's not like, my shoulder's killing me. But also I think it's because my head is still, so I'm not trying to hold myself still with my muscles, which in turn, makes them sore. And I've been tapping not 100% the way I'm supposed to, but mostly these ones, which I can feel at the bottoms of my feet and kind of a little bit in my back, under my under these bones, under the angel wing bones, as I call them. I should know what they are, but I can't think of it because I'm being filmed. One thing I've had a problem with was like actually starting stuff. I'm a really good organizer to get everything ready to do something, but then I miss the starting gun. And so I've been able to kind of get past that a little. I'm hoping today when I get home I get all my Christmas cards done, but everything's totally ready to go, and it's just making that next step. So I kind of get stuck with preparing and not doing stuff. And I think that the tapping really has helped, like, sort of wake me up and feel the impetus to actually get up from where I'm sitting and go. I think sometimes I just get stuck where I am. So if I'm sitting in one place and I need to get up and walk somewhere, it's a weird thing that happens that I just don't. But with tapping, I think it has just gently, made me more awake and more aware that I can do things below my neck. I live a lot inside my head, and I think the tapping has helped to make the rest of me part of my life too. So I think, and I just thought of this just now, but maybe it's a good thing to have thought of. It was like all my living is up here in my head, and so of course it's really shaky because there's a lot happening there. But if I'm living in my whole body, I'm feeling grounded. So some of the really good exercises for the grounding,
heaven and
ones that feel good, heaven and earth, and then the butterfly one feels really good. So I tend to do those more than others. But yes, I'm someone who's so organized. I have a list of stuff I want to do every single day, and it usually doesn't happen. My intentions are the best. But there were a couple days that I did a lot more than I would usually do. That maybe I got 50 or even 70% of things on my list done, and those were good days. And I'm hoping in the week to come I'll do more. And Tatiana has gone over with me the different exercises and things I can do and the order of them, and it's starting to come more naturally that I won't skip steps. But it was good that it wasn't a really rigid, you must do it this way kind of thing, because I wouldn't have. But she sort of gave me permission that if I couldn't remember exactly what to do, to, do what I could remember.
Yes. Very good. I'm very proud of you.
And you've been really great. I know that the essential tremor I have, or at least I think it is, rooted, and I will always have it. What I can do is lessen it. And I really didn't want to do it with the pharmaceuticals that are always just automatically the first thing pushed for a neurological thing. Tatiana is the first person that I've worked with who's a professional who honored what I said about I don't want to be on medication for it. Who didn't? They usually will say, well, maybe try a little something while you're doing this or that to get better. And so I liked that, and I think maybe as much as 30% or 50% of the whole process has been sitting across with someone who's like really loving and caring and so kind and stuff, and it's not like hurry up out the door. In fact, I feel bad because I've been late. I've gotten over in time, and she has accommodated that. So I hope I don't do that much more, but I think it's part of like what's wrong. And I want to fix that. And she's helping me come up with the right things to say to help me get better with timing and honor other people's time and my own. If you have a chronic illness that you feel like you are going to have for the rest of your life and forever, like I thought, there's another way of looking at it that is worth checking out, and that's by getting someone that you can talk to deeply about all mind, body, spirit